Pylon V13 is a structure built on one of the Appalachian monorail pylons, the 13th from Robco Research Center. This section was going to be used by Professor Greebley as part of an experiment attempting to conduct time travel by moving through dimensions at a high speed. The ground-level location consists of a dilapidated wooden structure, which houses a weapons workbench and leather working bench. Another room contains the remains of an inner tube and inflatable raft. There are many gas tanks, air tanks, and buckets throughout the location. A mailbox marks the entrance to a flight of stairs leading up the pylon to the middle entrance of a 3-car monorail. Upon entering, the player may hear a radio to the left which plays static, immediately opposite an elevated sleeping bag. Continuing in this direction, the player will enter the domicile portion of the train, where several scientists lived for some time after the war. Above the open door of the rear train, they have affixed a satellite dish. A functional TV is installed nearby. Heading to the front of the monorail, there is a dining table to the right, lined up on one side of the front car. Past this is a medium generator sticking out of an open door. At the end of this room, Professor Greebley's press release sits next to a microscope on a shelf just above the periodic table. The north end of the train is supported by the pylon that Greebley intended to use to travel through time. One can step out of a broken window onto another wooden platform that leads to the pylon. The circle has about 50 boards attached to it, and a permanently active Tesla coil at the top, which damages the player. In the conductor's chamber is a button that will activate additional Tesla coils when pressed, which will loudly spark until they individually break. There are 2 skeletons dressed as scientists in the rear car. Another lies on the ground by the rear pylon near the treasure mound for Cranberry Bog Treasure Map #4, and a 4th in the front car by the generator. At the front of the train, there is a skeleton dressed as a mechanic, piled near the walkway extending from the conductor's chamber to the crackling ring. Greebley ardently believed that time travel was possible, though his theories were mocked and derided, and he was called a foolish old man by others. However, Greebley claimed that he had revolutionized an interdimensional method of time travel that would allow for skipping across timelines. He called the use of gravity in time travel experiments clumsy, and championed his discovery of a way to break through the fabric of reality at a high speed. To accomplish this, he decided to use a monorail car at Pylon V13 as his chariot to travel through dimensions. The remains of his experiment, or some attempt to recreate it, can still be found at the pylon.